In the ever-evolving landscape of online discourse and content creation, voices like Rev Says Desu have emerged, challenging conventional wisdom and pushing boundaries on controversial topics. This essay delves into the intriguing world of Rev Says Desu and the multifaceted arguments he presents, focusing on three essential themes: semantic disputes, the underpinnings of bad faith arguments, and the ethnocentric perspectives. As we navigate through these topics, we'll explore how Rev Says Desu navigates the intricate terrain of definitions, beliefs, and cultural disparities, shedding light on the complexities of online discussions in the digital age.
Let's delve into the semantic argument, a recurring theme that forms the foundation of this discussion. It's essential to address this argument before delving into other aspects of the topic. To begin with, we must explore definitions of two central terms, lolly and lolicon. Additionally, we should consider the unconventional perspective that Rev often employs, viewing drawings through a surrealist lens as a form of argument. Our conversation frequently revolves around the assertions that a person cannot be labeled a lolly or a lolicon when these terms are used to describe individuals like Rev who advocate for the proliferation of lolly material. According to him, the term lolly explicitly pertains to the material itself, while lolicon exclusively denotes explicit lolly material. To delve deeper, let's break down these definitions. Firstly, it is important to note that the term lolicon is derived from the English phrase Lolita complex. This phrase has its roots in Vladimir Nabokov's novel Lolita, which explores themes of obsession and illicit attraction to a young girl. In the context of anime and manga, lolicon has evolved to describe individuals with a similar fixation on young fictional characters. Second, our interlocutor's definition of these terms are not universally accepted as objective. There is a substantial body of evidence within the realm of anime and manga that contradict his interpretations. In this diverse subculture, the meaning and nuances of words can vary widely, and there is no single definitive interpretation of terms like lolly and lolicon. Here's a clip from the Lucky Star anime sub.
私やゆうちゃんが同学年の人に告白された場合、その人ってロリコンってことになるのかな。
同じ学年なんだし、そうでないといえばそうでないし、しかしこの場合は見た目にウェイトがかかっている気がするし、もし仮に小学生のような30歳だったら逆に年上好みと言えるかもしれないし、なかなか深いテーマだな。定義づけが難しいよね。
やっぱり私のお父さんなんだね。鏡だったらどっちでもいいで終わりそう。じゃあお父さんはどうなの？お母さんに惚れてこの娘を溺愛ってことはお父さんってロリコンなんだよね。
いやいや待て待て、それは少し間違ってるな。小さい子だけじゃなくて普通の子も好きだからロリコンでもあるが正しい。要するにキャラによりけりってことだな。
どっちにしてもダメ人間だよね。じゃあさ、お父さんいつも私にペタペタしてくるけど、私が男子でも今と同じように接してきた？
And here is a clip from the Lucky Star anime dub.
Hey Dad, wanna know what I was just thinking? If Yu-chan was asked out by a guy from her class and I was asked out by a guy from my class, does that mean those guys have Lolita complexes?
Oh boy. I guess if the guy's in the same grade as you, it's safe to say he doesn't have one. Then again, both you girls look younger than you really are, so I guess there's that. If a girl's 30 years old, but she looks like she's in elementary school, if that's the case, you could say the guy prefers older women. That's a good question, hon. I don't know if there's an easy answer for it, though.
It's so cool I can ask you stuff like that. If I asked Kagami, she'd say something like, I don't care. How about you, Dad? Are you like that? Well, you love Mom and she looked young, and I know you love having me for a daughter. Does that mean you have a Lolita complex?
Whoa. That's not exactly what your old man's about. I also have a Lolita complex, is a better way of putting it. I mean, sure, I like young girls, but I also like normal girls. I don't discriminate.
Either way, that's still pretty creepy, Dad. Look, you've always been super clingy with me, but I was wondering, if I was a boy instead of a girl, would you still be all clingy with me?
He often uses a surrealist perspective of drawings as a form of argument. To understand what I mean, here's the surrealist painting, The Treachery of Images. The text beneath the painting of the pipe reads, "This is not a pipe." So he argues that the form of a child, simplified into lines, is not a child, and he even goes farther than that to say that a lolly, that being a drawing of a child, is not a drawing of a child, because no child looks exactly like a lolly character because it's a drawing.
Well, that's not a child, that's an anime character. So it's pretty amazing that they're wrong on every single sentence, like blatantly wrong. So number one, they say lolly is pedophilia, which is a very strange thing to say because it's not even lolicon. This is not even a sexual thing they're talking about. They're talking about just a fictional petite body type. Apparently in their minds that's already getting there, but as you'll see later in their tweets, they don't even know the difference between lolly and lolicon, and they're also calling real people lollies as well, which is only done by misinformed people or really weird people, and this guy's kind of both. But nonetheless, the next sentence here says the term lolly literally comes from Lolita.
Rev has taken a particular stance on the definition of lolly, that not only lends itself to a bad faith argument, but also exhibits elements of an informal fallacy. To illustrate this, let's first consider the concept of a bad faith argument through an analogy. Suppose someone argues we shouldn't ban the AR-15 because the AR-15 isn't a weapon of war, while secretly holding the position that the Second Amendment includes weapons of war. This individual would be using bad faith argument as their stated position contradicts their actual beliefs. Rev has decided that a lolly is just a character with a petite body type and thus lolicon can be consensual. However, this is a bad faith argument because he does not object to the proliferation of pornographic depictions of imagined rape and child rape, what he defined in a few of his videos as hardcore lolicon, which is kind of dumb because while all pornography is objectionable, including those tagged petite, depictions of imagined child rape are markedly more objectionable by most. In essence, Rev's position could be viewed as a form of a Mott and Bailey informal fallacy. In this fallacy, an arguer switches between two positions, a Mott, which is a defensible but less extreme position, and a Bailey, which is a more controversial and aggressive stance. In this context, Rev might present the Mott position that focuses on a character's aesthetics and consensual relationships, which is easier to defend. However, he appears to retreat to the Bailey position when discussing hardcore lolicon, effectively endorsing more objectionable content. The problem with this approach is that it muddles the discourse surrounding lolly material. By advocating for the acceptability of a broad range of content under the guise of character aesthetics, Rev trivializes the more severe ethical concerns related to depictions of imagined child exploitation and non-consensual acts. This creates confusion and makes it difficult to engage in meaningful debate about the content's societal impact and ethical implications.
The article contains many different statements about Japanese people and culture that can be considered racist.
Rev also engages in ethnocentric arguments that demonize individuals who highlight the discernible distinctions between Japanese cultural attitudes and Western cultural attitudes. He does this by labeling those who raise such a difference as racist. It is a fact that ethical values and cultural norms can significantly vary between Asian countries and Western countries. These differences are rooted in historical, social, and philosophical contexts that have shaped the respective societies over centuries. For instance, during the formation of the United Nations and the development of its guiding principles, Japan did indeed express objections to the notion that human rights should be the paramount principle of the United Nations. This objection stemmed from the fact that Japan, along with several other Asian countries, did not have a cultural tradition of innate, God-given human rights as a foundational concept. In Japanese culture, ethical and moral principles are often rooted in Confucianism, Shintoism, and other traditional belief systems, which may not emphasize individual rights to the same extent as Western philosophy, particularly the Enlightenment era ideas that underpin many Western systems of governance. This cultural divergence is not only unique to Japan, but many other Asian nations that share similar historical and philosophical backgrounds that may have shaped their ethical views differently from those of the Western societies. However, it is important to note that acknowledging these cultural differences does not equate to racism. Highlighting distinctions in cultural attitudes is a fundamental aspect of intercultural dialogue and understanding. It allows for a more comprehensive appreciation of diverse perspectives and fosters constructive conversations about the intersections and potential conflicts of different cultural norms and ethical values. It is crucial to approach discussions about cultural differences with sensitivity, dignity, and respect, rather than resorting to the accusations of racism. Dismissing those who highlight cultural distinctions as racist can stifle meaningful exchanges and hinder the ability to address and bridge the gaps between different worldviews. So let's go over several of these cultural attitudes that may influence our particular discussion. Here is what the US State Department has to say on the subject.
The continued practice of enjokosai, compensated dating, and the existence of websites for online dating, social networking, and delivery health, a euphemism for call girl or escort facilities, facilitated child prostitution and other commercial sex industries. A trend known as JK business continued to grow. These businesses include cafes that feature underage female servers and massage parlors staffed by high school-age girls. NGOs helping girls in JK business reported a link between these activities and child prostitution. Statutory rape laws criminalize sexual intercourse with a girl younger than 13, notwithstanding her consent. The penalty for statutory rape is not less than 3 years imprisonment with mandatory labor, and the law was enforced. Additionally, national law and local ordinances comprehensively address sexual abuse of minors, including boy victims. The country was a site for the production of child pornography and the exploitation of children by traffickers. In 2014, the country criminalized the possession of child pornography, remedying a major gap in the law. Enforcement began on July 15th. The commercialization of child pornography is illegal. The penalty is imprisonment with labor for not more than 3 years, or a fine not exceeding 3 million yen, or $28,300. And police continue to crack down on this crime. Police reported a record high 1,828 child pornography investigations, involving 746 child victims in 2014. No law addresses the unfettered availability of sexual explicit cartoons, comics, and video games, some of which depicted scenes of violent sexual abuse and the rape of children. Experts suggested that a culture that appears to accept the depiction of child sexual abuse harmed children.
There is nothing racist about citing these facts. It should be no shock to anyone that a nation on the other side of the planet doesn't necessarily share our exact ethical standards.
In conclusion, false accusations of racism do nothing to further his cause of the proliferation of sexually explicit cartoons, violently depicting the sexual abuse and the rape of children, even if he decides that petite adults fall under his personal definition of the words lolly and lolicon. If you enjoyed the video, I challenge you to indicate as much by pressing the like button, and be sure that you're subscribed. NatorGreen7000 out.